The nice thing about crop insurance, generally, when a farmer takes out the crop insurance, they see the value in it. You have to make sure that every single section, township, acreage is listed on the application. The amount of crops that they're going to have, acreage that they're going to have in each section, the type of crop. There's really a lot that goes into crop insurance. I'm going to want to know what your history is as far as your acreage. Most of the farmers that take their crops to the feed mills are going to get a weight slip. I'll need to know what they're getting on those weight slips, because we want to make sure any history that they have, even though they've not had crop insurance in the past, we can still use their previous year's history to put that on the application, and all that helps. Crop insurance goes by county, so if you have 40 acres in Waupaca County and you have 20 acres in Shawano County, the price per acre to insure that might be different from one county to the next, and then in a lot of those cases we have to do two separate applications. Biggest thing is with crop insurance, you want to have a 5-year history. If a farmer doesn't have a 5-year history, then they're going off basically the county T yield. Once you have that 5-year history that you can give to myself, that I can send in with the application, then you start really making out much better on what you're going to get at the end of the year as far as any sort of refund. You have yield protection and you have revenue protection. The yield protection is on the amount of crop that you're actually producing. So if your yield ends up being a lot less than what you originally thought it was going to be, you're going to have the opportunity for a refund at the end of the year. And with the revenue, if the amount of money that you're generating off of profit from your crop ends up being less than what you anticipated, then there's always that chance for that refund out there. So it depends if the farmer is going to grow the crop basically for their own use. In most of those cases, they would want to do yield protection. If they're going to grow the crop to sell, then they would want to do, in most of those cases, revenue protection. They can get wind and hail coverage. There are farmers that choose not to do what's called a multi-peril crop insurance, the MPCI. Most of the farmers that get the crop coverage get the MPCI, but there are those that choose not to get the MPCI, and they're watching the weather one morning and they say, you know what, the National Weather Service is predicting, 80% chance of damaging hail. So they can call me at the office. As long as I've got that coverage in place, a minimum of 2 hours prior to that hail coming, we can get that crop covered. So if you think there's a chance, now the thing is, you can't call me on Tuesday morning and say, Kevin, I want hail insurance put on, and then call me Wednesday morning and say, Kevin, cancel that hail insurance, I don't need it anymore. When you put it on for the rest of the summer. But it's a nice thing that the federal government allows farmers that flexibility, that they can call me 8 o'clock in the morning when I walk in the office and say, you know what, they're saying hail's coming this way, let's get a hail policy put in effect. As far as the watchouts, once you sign an application and you have that crop insurance put in place, that crop insurance automatically renews every year. So if you don't want that insurance anymore, you got to call me and say, hey, Kevin, I don't want it this year, let's cancel it. We got to get that cancellation sent in before the deadline. Otherwise, it's automatically going to be there. That premium does not get paid when you sign the application. So when we send in an application for crop insurance, you don't have to write me out a check. We send in the application. If at the end of the year you have a claim, so they're going to take off your premium, and then they're going to pay you the difference between whatever your refund would be as opposed to how much you paid for the crop insurance. They don't have to have their farm and their home and their auto insured with Premier to get the crop insurance. The farmers got a tough enough job the way it is. They got to worry about the market, they got to worry about prices, they got to worry about inflation, they got to worry about enough other stuff. Why make their crops just another thing to be worried about? Get that crop insurance put in place and lay down in bed at night and be able to sleep soundly knowing that if something happens, there's coverage in there for your crops.